You're listening to Main Character Manifesto. Wellness, mindset, and identity shifts you don't need an escape from. I am your host, Ceci, your go-to life coach and wellness bestie. Around here, it's simple. Eat what you love, move with purpose, think bigger, and show the hell up. Are you ready? Let's get into it. Have you ever thought of a life that you want? You can see it, feel it, taste it, but when it comes down to taking action to actually achieve it, you freeze. You start to overthink, procrastinate, scroll on your phone, and then you think, it's okay, I'll just do it tomorrow. And let me just tell you, that is not laziness, that is fear. I know in the last episodes, I've talked a lot about fear, things that hold us back, fear of failure. But in this case, and most often than not, it's not fear of failure, it's fear of our own potential. I think that's usually why people tend to self-sabotage because they're so scared to see what they can actually achieve because of everything that it comes with. Today, we are actually going to talk about why we self-sabotage our own success and what we can do to break free from that cycle. Listen, I am no stranger to self-sabotage, procrastination, that feeling of doom when you know you have so much to do and all you want to do is just crawl under the covers and take a nap and just avoid life because for those few hours that you're sleeping, avoiding life, you are not feeling the stress and the anxiety and the helplessness that we feel when we are feeling that heaviness that we're running away from. But what that is doing is actually making that cloud, that scariness, that heaviness, it's actually making all of that even heavier because the more you avoid something, you're actually giving it more power. So, what I have learned over the last few years that I have been truly looking for solutions and understanding and really have put myself in the front line to do the things that actually scare the hell out of me. I have realized that in order to have those fears lose the power, you actually have to run towards them and not against them. So here, that's what we're going to do. We are going to create awareness, we're going to break them down, and we're going to run towards them because when you run towards your fears, you're actually taking your power back and it slowly becomes less and less scary until you completely overcome it. And then you look back and you become so proud of yourself because not only are you over that fear, you actually took control and took your power back. So that's what we're going to do for you today. We're going to break it down and we're going to choose just one step at a time. You don't have to handle everything at the same time. You don't have to tackle all of your fears in one sitting. That's not what I want you to do. I don't want you to overwhelm yourself and think like, oh my God, now I have to tackle every single thing that scares me. No, that's actually exactly what you're not going to do today. You are going to analyze and reflect, and then you're going to choose one at a time that you're going to decide to take your power back and to break it down and take that control back. I remember these moments vividly when I was in college. And I always hated writing papers and I hated doing all the research for it, writing, which is actually kind of funny because all I do for my business now is doing a bunch of research and writing and all the things I always avoided my whole life doing. But now I actually enjoy it because I understand what I'm doing and it's just kind of like a different outlet that I didn't know that I could use before. I felt judged because English is my second language. So who is going to want to write a paper when you know that your grammar is going to be like written up? And I was just terrified of writing papers in college. And I would always procrastinate, literally leave it till the last moment. And then I feel like this strength, this flash of like energy would come over me when I had maybe like one day left to turn it in. And then I would just get it done. And I'm like, why can I not get this rush of energy? And like, it's almost like you were enlightened. And I'm sure other people have felt this before when you procrastinate and you leave things till the last minute. That rush of like energy and endorphins and adrenaline just kicks in. And then you're able to get shit done. Like you get everything done. It's almost like you know somebody's coming over or like you have family coming over for the holidays or whoever. And you're like, shit, I need to clean. And you go and you clean the house and like everything's in order. And then you're like, wow, why can't I do this on a regular basis? Why does it have to be the last minute? It's just like, why do we have to wait until the last minute to actually get shit done? And there's actually a reason. And I have heard something, and I have to do a little bit more research on this, so don't quote me on this. But I think I heard something about like people like us that thrive on that rush of adrenaline. It's like we almost function better that way because we're used to functioning under adrenaline. So then we just wait until that kicks in and then we get shit done. So we need to change that pattern because that's not healthy. It's like, who wants to be under that type of stress all the time? That adrenaline is only supposed to kick in. Our body's only supposed to have that type of adrenaline when we're literally being attacked, when our life is in danger, when a bear is attacking us, when like those mothers, have you heard those mothers that like maybe they're in a car accident and their child is underneath a car and they've lifted the car? Yeah, that's the type of adrenaline. That's when adrenaline should kick in when we are in danger and when we have to do these crazy tasks to save our lives. So today, we're going to tackle all of the things that are holding us back. And listen, like always, I am right in the thick of it with you. I am experiencing some of these procrastination, avoidance, fear, all of the things, right? Like, I think that most people deal with this on a daily basis. Some people know how to deal with it a little bit better than others. Some people talk about it, some people don't. But listen, that's why I'm here to talk about it, because I want to help myself out. I want to help you out. And if I can do a little research and get us on the right road to avoid doing this toxic cycle of procrastination, avoidance, and just running away from our own success. And listen, we are all winning, all right? Okay, so now let's get into the good stuff. I read somewhere a quote that said something like, avoidance isn't being lazy, it's protecting ourselves from potential failure. Doesn't that sound like something that we've been doing? I think so. I know that we've talked about the fear of failure in other episodes. So basically, if I don't try, then I won't fail. So then you're removing that feeling of pain of failing by not even trying. But this next one that we're going to talk about, this one hit home. And this is the reason why I decided to put this episode together, because it's something that I'm currently dealing with. And it just became so clear. It was almost like this light went off in my head. And I was like, oh my God, that's totally what I'm doing. So this next one is fear of success. How many of us have sabotaged ourselves because of fear of our own success? And when I was really analyzing my life and things that I've done and things that I have avoided doing, I have seen this pattern of fear of success. When I started my own salon, I left a large salon that was like 22 chairs, I was one of the senior stylists. I was doing great. I had a full clientele. I was an educator for L'Oreal. I did some classes at the salon. And when I decided to open my own salon, I just did it, right? I'm like, I'm not going to fail. I'm going to cover all my bases. But I never really felt comfortable opening the chairs to other people. I'm like, I don't want to deal with managing other people. That's too much work. I don't want to deal with that. I just wanted to be me. And so I had my own studio for 8 years with 2 chairs, and it was just me. And when I look back, I'm like, what was I so afraid of? I was afraid of hiring people. I was afraid of expanding. I was afraid of all of the work that came with having other people involved, because that would mean that I would have to show up at a certain level and I would have to be responsible for other people. And that scared me. Even though that could potentially mean that I would be more successful, I would bring more income, I would have more revenue, that scared me. And I always said, no, that's too much work. I don't want to deal with that. So why don't you think about all of the areas in your life where you think that you could have totally expanded and evolved and been more successful, but you held yourself back because of the fear that everything that it comes with, that you wouldn't be able to measure up to what that success would mean. And this resonates so well. The other day I was scrolling on my phone and Emma Grade, she is one of the most inspirational women. She has a podcast and she had Tracy Ellis Ross, Diana Ross's daughter, and she said something that totally resonated with me. And it's something that I've been thinking about probably for the last couple of months. And it really all makes sense when people are talking about manifesting and when people they sit here and they tell you, okay, think about your perfect life. What do you look like when you have your perfect life? How do you talk when you have your perfect life? How do you act? How do you show up? What do you wear? How do you work out? What do you eat? Basically breaking down all of the things that you will be once you have your perfect life. And then once you understand what all of those are, then you need to start doing them now, right? So if that super successful person that makes $100,000 a year, that future you, if that person wakes up every single day and goes to the gym, if that person plans ahead, if she plans her week on Sundays, if she thinks about what her boundaries are, if she goes to sleep on time so that she can get enough rest, what are all of the things that this ideal version of you does in order to become that person? But what Tracy Ellis Ross said was something that I had already thought about a few months ago that has been simmering in my mind. She said, a lot of people are afraid of their own success because they're scared of what it takes to maintain it. And when she said that, I was blown away because I have realized that I have stopped myself from doing things because I am afraid that I maybe don't trust myself to maintain that level of success for a long time. And all of that is fear. We just have to think about what are the things that are needed from me. If I have done it once, I can do it again. And so then we talk ourselves out of achieving these great goals that we have in our heart, that we have in our mind. We stop ourselves and we think, no, that's too much work. I won't be happy. And then all of that is pushing you back into your comfort zone. Because as soon as you start to expand your capacity for growth and for new things and for unknown things, you get uncomfortable and all of the alerts, all of that fear comes in and it's like that adrenaline, like, oh my God, no, run. There's a bear chasing you. You're gonna die. So you need to go back to your comfort zone and then you'll be safe. So then you go back to being in your comfort zone. You make yourself small again because that expansion wasn't comfortable. So I think this is the time that we break out of that shell. We need to stop doing the same things that are keeping us stuck, that are keeping us from this success that we want, that are keeping us from achieving all of the things that we've been wanting. And this is so great to really digest in all areas of your life because you can apply it in anywhere. You can apply it to your relationship, you can apply it to your job, you can apply it to your fitness. A lot of people in their relationships, they're not used to opening up and being vulnerable. And so maybe it's easier for them to keep people at a distance because as soon as they open up, they're going to feel very vulnerable and like it's going to be painful if they're rejected. But then that also keeps them so far away from people that they're not able to fully love or be loved. And this also applies to weight loss, right? A lot of people are so scared of getting out of their comfort zone and maybe tracking a few meals and getting uncomfortable and saying no to certain things because, oh my God, what are people going to say? They're going to be like, she's so annoying. She's on a diet. She's not doing this. She's not doing that. But at the end of the day, your body's uncomfortable. You want to be healthier. You're tired of your clothes not fitting, or maybe you're just out of breath and you want to be healthier. It's not all about aesthetics. At the end of the day is that you want to be able to sleep better. You want to be able to be healthy. You want to walk around. You want to play with your kids. You want to do the things that you love, but you're scared because you don't want to be uncomfortable. I have a client and she will tell anybody. She is on Ozempic. She does not care. She's like, look, I don't want to try. I'm tired of dieting. I just want this button to be switched off in my brain. And I don't want to be hungry because I'm tired of trying. Like, I don't want to go to therapy. I don't want to do the work. And I just want it to be easy. And I'm never going to sit here and judge anybody for their choices. But at the end of the day, and I had this discussion with her, I'm like, eventually you're going to have to do some of this work in order to fully let go of all of this like resistance that you have just for your own closure so that you can actually feel better and then understand where all of these feelings are coming from. And she was like, yeah, I know. I'll do it eventually, right? So it's like we avoid so many things in our life because we know it's going to be hard. We know it's going to take work. It's not going to be easy, but once we do it, it's going to feel so good to be on the other side. I mean, think about a time in your life when you started something and you were like, oh my God, that's going to take forever. I remember every single time I went back to school, I went to Sonoma State. I have a business degree. And then once I was like finally done with like school nightmares, I was like, let me go back to school. So I went to design school. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so old. I'm in my 30s going to design school. What am I doing? And then before you knew it, I was like already done and working at a design firm. So time is going to pass anyways. You might as well just do it and do what you want to do and achieve the goals you want to achieve, because the last thing you want is for another year to pass and then you are in the same place that you were last year. Listen, I may have good days. I may have bad days. I may have days where I completely procrastinate the whole day and I do nothing and I set myself back maybe a few days. But I'm still moving forward. You're still moving forward by showing up, by listening to this podcast, because you are choosing to up-level yourself. You're choosing to learn. You're choosing to grow. Showing up every single day doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be like 1% better than you did yesterday. So I know for a fact that I am so much further along this year than I was last year. Last year, I was in such a different place. And even though sometimes I get down on myself and I'm like, ugh, I should be so much further along. Why am I not doing this and this and this and this? Because I am naturally an overachiever. Maybe some of you resonate, maybe some of you don't, but I felt last year like I was like, okay, let's go, right? We're going to get all of this done. And I just thought everything was going to fall into place super easy. But I wasn't taking into account all of the resistance that was going to be holding me back from moving forward. Some people can get through it much faster than others, and some people give up. Some people start a new venture, and as soon as they start to feel that resistance a little bit, they completely give up. And I've talked to quite a few people that have some successful podcasts, and they tell me, keep going. That's amazing that you have. I think this is episode 26. Hey, episode 26. So they tell me that is amazing that you're even past episode 10, because most people that start a podcast don't even make it through episode 3 because of all the work that it takes. It's showing up every single week. It's being consistent. It's promoting. It's doing all of the back end work. And most people give up, right? So these people that I talk to, they have like over 100 episodes. I don't know. I think one of my close friends, she has like over 5 million downloads, which is wild. I mean, what a dream. I can't wait to get there. But here we are. We show up every week. We get it done because it's something truly that I love and that I know is part of my purpose. So when you think about yourself, like, where are you now? Where were you last year? If you're in the same place now that you were in last year, that's okay, because you know what? We can change that. We can change that. You can move one step closer to where you want to be in this week, and then next week, and then the following week. You just have to keep showing up. You just have to make the decision to get out of bed during those hard times, when it feels gloomy, when it feels heavy, when it feels like you just can't. That's the most important time. That is when you have to keep trying. So here we are. Let's start looking at some actionable steps that are going to help us get through these moments. Okay, let me go back just a little bit because I feel like I got ahead of myself a little bit. So let's go back to the different things that we wanted to look into. So we talked about fear of success. We talked about fear of failure. Now let's talk about identity conflict. What this is, it is that your current self doesn't fully believe that you can become that vision that you have for your future self. So with that is super heavy, and that will absolutely hold you back, because you have to keep showing up for yourself. You have to keep believing in yourself, and you have to keep showing yourself that you can hold yourself accountable and show up and create success. And you can only do that by showing up. So if you really want to do something, like, let's just say you tell yourself, I want to be able to do at least one push-up by the end of the year, right? Well, if you never practice doing the push-up, how do you think you're going to get there? If you say, okay, every single day I'm going to try and I'm going to do 10 push-ups because that is the practice that I need to get there. Even if it's on my knees, if I do 10 push-ups on my knees, that'll eventually get me to one real push-up on my toes. But if you keep saying you're going to do it and then you don't do it, then that is feeding yourself, feeding your mind the doubt that you're never going to show up because you haven't been showing up. So in order to break that cycle, baby, you got to start showing up, but start small. Start with little baby things. Okay, every single day I'm going to make my bed for 10 days. Okay, after those 10 days, you're going to be like, okay, that felt really good. Now, for the next 20 days, I'm going to make my bed and I'm going to wake up early. And then you start adding something else on, and then something else on. That is how you incrementally add another task to your day, and then another win. That is going to build up your confidence like you don't believe, because then you're going to be like, wow, I can actually do this and then I can maintain it. So then that means I can take on more. And then you do something bigger and then you do something bigger than that. So that is how we're going to break that cycle, break that identity that we don't believe that we can become and maintain that person that we want to become. Okay, this next one is actually kind of wild because I feel like I totally do this. The next one is that we find comfort in chaos. So, finding comfort in chaos is kind of like what I was talking about earlier when we wait until the last minute until that adrenaline kicks in. And then we're like, okay, now this is when I am at my best because then I just get this rush and then I get shit done and then I do my best work. But no, we're just addicted to the chaos. You know, those couples that are so toxic and they're always fighting in front of you, and you're like, oh my God, they're so toxic. They're like breaking up, getting back together, breaking up. Ugh, I don't want to be around this. This is exhausting. How can you guys handle it? But they are used to the chaos. They're addicted to that chaos. So for us, we need to let go of this chaos, baby. We want peace. I definitely want peace. I want structure. I want to be able to execute. I want to show up and not feel like I'm just feeling heavy and procrastinate. Ugh, it's so exhausting. It is so exhausting. But the more we avoid it, the bigger the monster gets. So we're not going to do that. And we're also going to get rid of this comfort and chaos thing that we have going on. And we're not going to procrastinate until the last minute. That's not what we're doing anymore. Okay, and the last one is perfectionism, right? So I am like that. I'm a Virgo. So sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm not going to do it until I have time to like do it completely like how I want to. And I feel like sometimes that holds me up. Actually, many times that has held me up from doing things that I've wanted to do. Even just with the podcast, I used to be like, oh my God, no, if it's not a video, I can't do it. Like, no, now I know if something comes up and I need to do audio only, then I do audio only. I do enjoy and love doing audio only because I get to have my room super dark and like it's cozy and I have my cozy clothes on and the candle. Maybe one day I should like do like a cozy session. I feel like every time I like think about doing it, I don't do it, but we'll see. If you guys want me to do one, say it in the comments. We should do, I wish it was like a sleepover where we're like all chatting and everybody's in their comfy clothes. But here we are all dressed up with, you know, decked out, but it's just who I am. Let's talk about perfectionism. let's bring it back to what we were talking about. I do. I feel like I get stuck on doing shit perfectly because I just love following through and I have a vision and I'm very creative and I always want to add things and I want to do here and I want to do that. And okay, when I have the time to do it all perfect, then I'll do it. Or I'll just wait until I feel like I'm really ready to do it. But at the end of the day, nothing's ever going to be perfect. You're never going to feel like you're perfectly ready. And then sometimes you just got to do it, even when it's messy, even when it's just halfway done. Like, just do it, just attempt it. Let's just keep it moving. I think letting go of this perfectionism that I have going on, I think that's going to help a lot. So maybe, hopefully, that will help you too, that we're talking about this. You know, this is a friend circle. So let's hold each other accountable. Let's move forward. Okay, now let's actually get into how we're going to get through this. How are we going to move forward and actually stop doing all of these things that are holding us back? All right, so the first one is name the pattern. Give it awareness. Recognize what you're doing. Say, okay, I am not procrastinating on this. I am protecting myself from something that I fear. So when you become aware of what's actually happening, then you're able to actually get a little bit more clarity on what to do next. So now that you gave it some awareness and you say, this is okay, this is not procrastination, I know what I need to do to move forward, then we're gonna shrink it down. Because if you think about like, oh my God, I have to do this and then I have to do that, and then it just feels like there's too many things to do and it feels heavy and you just wanna give up. No, no, no. Shrink it down. Be like, okay, what is the most important thing that I have to do in the next 10 minutes, in the next hour, or for today? Maybe you have like a whole week to do things. So tell yourself, all right, what is one thing that I can do today? What is the one thing that I can do within the next 10 minutes that I can actually get done? And then I will move to the next thing. So breaking down and like making that big goal, breaking it down into smaller, digestible chunks is going to be so helpful. Okay, and the next step is to rewire your identity. When you give yourself that awareness of what's going on, okay, we're not procrastinating, we're going to shrink down the goals. The next thing to do is to talk to yourself and rewire that identity and tell yourself, I am the kind of person that follows through. I am the kind of person that finishes what she starts. I am the kind of person that makes herself proud because she shows up for herself. So then what that'll do is that it will give you that awareness of what is actually going on. And then you will be able to acknowledge, okay, this is usually when I stop. This is usually when I hide. This is usually when I avoid. And give it some recognition and tell yourself, no, fear doesn't mean that I stop. Fear means that I'm expanding. I am allowing for bigger and better things to come into my life. So I am moving forward. I am not stopping. I am not avoiding. I am not hiding. I am taking time to breathe. I am taking time to regulate myself. If you need to go for a walk, maybe for a 10-minute walk or a 5-minute walk, or if you just need to kind of like break that energy of being stagnant or doing the thing that you normally do, go take a nap or just go watch TV or scroll on your phone, tell yourself, I am not doing those things because I am the kind of person that breaks through and that breaks away from the things that hold me back. So now I am going to take action. I am going to move forward and not move backward and not run away from it. And always remember to reward yourself, because it's so important for you to acknowledge the small little wins that you're making when you're not avoiding everything that you need to be doing. Even if it was a small win, it's like, oh, today I actually went for a walk and I was able to get one extra task that I normally would have avoided and ran away from. Celebrate yourself. Give yourself a pat in the back. I don't know, go for a massage, do whatever you feel like you need to do, but celebrate it, because that's going to add to your confidence and that is going to add to your identity of the person that maintains the success that you want to maintain. And of course, I fully support having a community, having somebody that you can reach out to, or somebody that can hold you accountable or just kind of listen to you, whether it's a friend, a coach, a sister, a brother, whoever it is, your significant other. It's so important to have people in your corner, to have that community that you can lean on when they can be like, wow, you really said you were going to do that and you did it. Good job. Even just having that accountability makes such a big difference. And listen, if you have nobody to talk to, you have me. You can message me here. You can DM me on Instagram. There's so many ways to contact me. If you feel like you're stuck and you want to chat and you want to figure out how to get out of it, I got you. Let's chat. So I hope that these little tips will help you. I know they're for sure going to help me, because it helps me even just to talk about it. And I feel like If I'm going through some things, I think other people must be going through something similar. So I hope this helped you, and I hope it'll help all the future listeners that are going to listen. And listen, let me just tell you, if you have that vision for yourself of that life that you want, that career, that person that you want to become, that's not there for nothing. That feeling, that vision was given to you because that is meant for you. That is who you're supposed to be. That is what you're supposed to have. That is who you're supposed to become. Don't let this fear keep shrinking you back down and keep you from the things that you truly want. Yes, success, growth, becoming that person is going to mean that you're going to be stretched. That does mean that you're going to be uncomfortable. That does mean that there's going to be things that you're going to have to do that you don't do now, that are going to be more responsibilities, that are going to be more to maintain. But at the end of the day, you will know how to maintain it if you do the work step by step. Just take it one day at a time and then analyze, what is your purpose? What is your value in your core? What do you truly want? And if you really truly want it deep down inside, then that means that you can have it, and that means that you can maintain it. You just have to learn to regulate your nervous system so that you can actually keep it. That means learning to get through that fear of success, to that fear of being seen, to get through that fear of being judged and that fear of failure. You have to work through that in order to get to that next level you. You can do it. I can do it. We can do it together. And I cannot wait to see us on the other side. And like I said, if you need a little coaching, a little hand holding, listen, a little friendly chat, DM me. Really, no commitment. I love to chat. I love to start the conversation. I really enjoy talking to like-minded individuals. So come and find me. And thank you so much for showing up every week. I appreciate you guys all so much. And please subscribe, rate, review, press the like button. It would mean the world to me if you leave me a review or a comment. If there's something that you want me to discuss on a show, I would love to hear from you. And if you think a friend will benefit from the show, share it with them. It helps people find the show better. And until next time, please keep showing up for yourself because you are totally worth it. I will see you next week. Bye.